Hi everyone, thanks for making the left turn for today, Sunday, July 23rd, 2017. I'm George Ferrara. Welcome back to the Jack's Left channel and welcome back to Who Runs Jacksonville, our corporate media, where I'm looking at our Jacksonville television station, specifically at the corporate media and what they put out as news. And I'm excited because I have planned through mid-September an investigation looking into all the different television stations, looking at the broadcasts, looking at the social media in the news feeds, looking at the personalities, looking at the owners, looking at the big money, the advertising, looking at all these different things. And I have a lot that I want to cover. So what I'd like to do is just briefly talk with you about where I'm coming from on this and what I plan to look at so far as the criteria that I want to look at. And the criteria will be looking at both broadcast and social media. So you'll find out in the course of these shows, mostly in August and also in early to mid-September, there'll be some shows then as well. You're going to get a chance to know a little bit more about me and where I'm coming from and what's happening, and also what I think. And I think what you may also agree, some of you out there will agree with, where we need to go from here when it comes to what we expect. Because there's so much influence. There's so much influence in the corporate media day after day after day. Because guess what? Everyone's on their phones. Everyone's watching TV. Everyone's listening to the radio. There's so much that's happening when you talk about corporate media. I'm going to be looking at television. I'm going to be looking at social media. So that's where we're at. And so just a little bit about myself. I was born and raised here in Jacksonville. I've lived most of my life in Jacksonville. I've lived most of the time that I've lived in Jacksonville, I've lived on the west side. So you'll be getting my perspective. My father worked for WJXT, Channel 4 for 25 years as a broadcast engineer. I will from time to time possibly reference that, but I want you to know that this really is a look at all the different TV stations, and I want to get a chance to learn more about where is it the corporate media, where the most of the influence, a lot of the business, a lot of how it impacts people. I want to really get down into the nitty-gritty of that. And so I'll be doing that in the coming weeks. And I'll be looking at an evaluation time. And that will be at some point in August. I'm thinking the first half of August. I'm going to go through, and on a week in August, I am going to look at what are the corporate news teams doing. And I want to look at things loosely, very loosely, informally, okay, using a rubric, okay? Now, this is not going to be at the end where I come out with, okay, so-and-so station, you know, they win this quote-unquote contest. There is no contest. There are no awards. There is no point system. The world is a complex place, and things are represented a certain way, but then you really see the output, okay? You see what's out there. So I'm going to be presenting to you some thoughts, some ideas. I'm going to essentially, as one might do, I'm going to collect some data, I'm going to evaluate, I'm going to think, and then I'm going to present it to you. And I'm going to try to have fun doing it. And we're going to have some fun over the next, essentially the next month and a half or so. So what I'm going to look at are some different things. I'm going to read them to you, and then we'll go ahead, we'll wrap it up, and I'll tell you what's next. So we're looking at, when it comes to broadcasting, classy or lowbrow, in-depth or superficial, real news or propaganda, timely or somewhat based on an old model. You know, maybe you might feel that this might be something that might be more applicable 20 years ago, right? Now, and then also too, and as a dichotomy to look at, commercial capitalists, commercialism and capitalism, okay, versus community public service. What are we seeing when we see the output of each of these stations? When I look at this station, what is it that I get? What is it that I'm thinking of? Where is it that I think they're taking the viewers? Okay, because ultimately we're all on this journey together. We're getting information, through our phones, through our television, everywhere, and on our computers, and there's so much happening. And so I want to look at each of the stations and see how they do it. And I want to look at big money. I want to look at advertising. I want to look at all these different things. And I want to bring it to you in an interesting format. So that's what we're looking at. In the next episode, I want to look at the owners, the advertisers, and big money. They're not out there just doing it out of the goodness of their hearts. I would like to think that someone, if commercialism and capitalism were totally removed, would have the kindness to come on the television to tell me how long it's going to take for me to get from 103rd Street out to off of Phillips Highway on the other side of town, across the Buckman, 295. So there's all this stuff that's going on, and all these things I'm looking at. And August is going to be right where it's at so far as looking at what is going on. So, and then later on, I'll be able to evaluate. We'll be able to talk about it. I want to present you with some challenging ideas, some thoughts. And I'm going to hope that maybe we can take this to the next level, because really, what is Who Runs Jacksonville about? It's about who runs Jacksonville, okay? And the person that tells you that maybe you can get over across the bridge 5 minutes faster, that person has a tremendous amount of power. Okay, but also that, and a lot of different things, investigations. Really, how do they look at the politicians? How do they look at the business people? And is there a superficial level of journalism going on, or are they digging deeper? Okay, and where's all this going? Where are we going into the future, into the media future? I like to think I'm somewhat of a media critic, because a lot of ways I look at the output, I look at the politics, I look at where things have fallen short. In fact, this very channel exists because there's such a gap with people, a gap between the information that's out there, all the great information that's out there, the stories, the details, the politics, the business, and in some cases out there, the sports, even science. All these different things are out in the Jacksonville orbit, but that somehow just doesn't seem to make it through. And so I'm looking at what are the hindrances, and where are the ways we can demand more from the people that present to us every night, every day, morning, noon, and night, the news, and letting us know what's out there. So I want to thank you for watching. There's a lot ahead. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think. Take it easy. See you later.